On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, we learn always double tap your eggs.
And hold the oregano. Let's do this. This week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
And I'm Liz.
And we're going to talk about season 11, episode 19, The Chitters.
The Chitters. And I'm very upset. I had a shirt with my cicada on it. We're going to have to also determine if we're going to say cicada or cicada. But
cicada.
Okay.
Cicada.
Cicada. So I had my one of my favorite shirts that says live fast, die loud, leave a beautiful exoskeleton, and has a cicada on it, cicada, whatever. And I did all my laundry because I knew I wore it last week, and I was like, okay, I'll just do laundry. And then it wasn't there. And then I realized that it was the bottom of a hamper of that I missed. No. And I used it when I was wearing it when I was watering dirt. So it was completely covered in dirt. And there, even though you can't smell through a podcast, you could see possibly could have seen the shirt was covered in dirt.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes you just don't feel like putting on a dirty shirt.
No, it wasn't. I just got out of the shower and didn't really want to put on a
muddy
non-clean
shirt
like that. Yeah, even if it would have been great. So beyond, so I would say what I've been up to. So we'll just segue right into that.
Go for it.
And so besides dirty shirts, last week was the Texas Spirit Gathering here in San Antonio, put on by the Austin Seance, and it was a good time. There could have been, I think, greater attendance. I think maybe something else was there were a lot of things that were going on Saturday. So it was still really good. It was a villa finale, which is a historical house in the King William's district. Of course, at once upon a time, it was a brothel, and because that's, all the coolest houses were. And we were talking about that. Like, why does it seem like brothels are always haunted? And I think it's just because it's more an interesting fact of the building, right? Those are things that you're going to remember about buildings. Not typically like it was a dentist's office, right? If that's not something that's going to spark the interest, but places like Villa Finale, I will tell you that's the first fact that comes out of my mouth is that at one point in time, this was a whorehouse. Right. And what was really funny is I was downstairs with some friends and we were doing some EVP recordings, and I had told them about the house, that fact. And the people they're from San Antonio, and I think they're called Ghost Seekers. I think that was your team's name, who was leading the recordings downstairs. They started telling the story of the building and brought up the fact that that the downstairs was a bootlegging place during Prohibition, and the upstairs used to be a brothel. And then all my friends looked at me just hardcore looked at me, and I was like, guys, when you do that, it looks like I'm a sex worker. Not like I know that this was that is not. It was like that's so. Could we not do that next time? So anyway, so we did some EVP recordings in the basement, and then there was an investigation on the first and the second floor of the place, which is a museum. And the last owner of the place really liked Napoleon and has hundreds of pieces of Napoleon shit through there. And so the house is stuffed full of shit and you can't touch anything. And it makes it really hard to do anything. So fun place to investigate. Also, with a crowd of people, not always my favorite, not always a good time, but it was still cool to be able to go see some things upstairs. And we do think we heard a weird whistle that nobody did. It was there was and it was like, what the, did you? No, I didn't. So we did hear that. So maybe that happened. But beyond that, there were really great lectures. Austin Seance, they did a lecture on table tipping, table turning, which is, one of the older psychic methods, I guess, the basics of it, I would say, is like light as a feather, stiff as a board on top of a table, right? That if you get enough people with your hands touching around a table, eventually the table will start to move in different directions, right? So, and you could do it with any table. So you and your family could sit down for Thanksgiving dinner and all sit with your hands around the table and just have them touching, and eventually the table would start to rock back and forth. It's just something that happens. And it was something that people did in the 1800s because they were really fucking bored. So, and it also became associated with psychic mediums and things like that, because you could use it to say, if you're a spirit, turn the table this way, or make the table knock twice, or you could do the alphabet with it.
Okay.
All sorts of things, but it was a really great lecture. And Dr. Laycock, who wrote the Penguin Book of Exorcisms and just came out with the Penguin Book of Cults, did a lecture on Marian apparitions. That was really cool. Then Dr. Melton, who is one of the world's leading experts on Dracula and looks like he should be a leading expert. Like, he looks like he is in the movie when you have to go find the professor to like tell you the story and like how to like kill the monster. He looks like that professor, and he owns that like thousands of copies of Dracula in different languages and editions and translations. And he was talking about just the journey of the book from the Byron Shelley meeting with his drug dealer dude boyfriend. I can't remember his name. Starts with a P. The one who wrote the original vampire story that then went to Bram Stoker's. So, but basically the pathway of that into how we got into the Draculas of today. And it was really, really great. And he was fascinating. Neat. And then Brandon Hodge who is the mysterious planchette dude. He owns like all the Ouijas and all the planchettes, but he also owns some magic lantern shit. And I think that's spiritualists would love it. I just call it, magic lantern shit. But he did a lecture on spirit photography and had some glass slides of some of the original spirit photographs of like, these were the mediums. And I found out he found a lot of them in Lilydale. And I was like, oh, Lilydale. Yay. And then I got to bitch about the library to him, and that was fun. So that happened this weekend, and it happens once a year. Cool. They had and there were vendors there, and it was a good time. There was a taco truck. So everything is better with a taco truck.
Everything's better with a taco truck is true.
Yeah. Yep. So, and what have you been up to?
Oh man, we went and caught a couple of bands. I went and saw the West Texas Exiles, and at one venue, and then went and saw Lydia Lovelace and J. Isaiah Evans and the Boss Tweed. And then that was fun. And then we had some family stuff, and then car club stuff as we are prepping for our annual Invasion Car Show. Woohoo! Woohoo! That's been a lot of my time. InvasionCarShow.com on October 25th in Deep Ellum, Texas. There you go. It's free for spectators. If you're walking around Dallas, pop on down Deep Ellum, go look at a bunch of hot rods all day on Saturday. Yeah, that's my excitement in my little world. We're just getting through that. I was getting through it. We enjoy it. It's just a lot of prep work, and then it'll be here, and then it'll be over. It'll be Halloween time.
It'll be, and then it'll be time to plan the next one. All right. So, and I don't think anything new is going on in SPN land. I think everything is still all projects are still in development.
Yeah, I think they're still pushing to try to save Countdown, but that's about all I've seen. I'm not optimistic. I'm seeing social media push for that, but that's
y'all shouldn't. You save your push for something else. Jensen's got other things. He looks better as Soldier Boy than that. And I guess something did happen. Tracker premiered, and Jensen was in the season 3 premiere of Tracker. Okay, so something did happen in their land, and I still haven't caught up on Tracker. Maybe I'll do that next. but maybe I will. All right. So, but let's go back in time and talk about this episode, The Chitters. And this is season 11, episode 19. It first aired April 27, 2016. And this is pretty cool. This was directed by Eduardo Sanchez. It was his first episode, but he is best known for having co-directed and co-written the 1999 horror film, The Blair Witch Project.
Oh.
So that explains, I think, a lot of things like in this episode, kind of sort of the, some of the visuals, and just if once you say that, you think about like what you like, oh yeah, like you can see that within some of the directions. So it was written by Nancy Wynn, and we love her. This season she did Thin Lizzy and Don't You Forget About Me. So all right, so this episode, we start off in going further back in time to the 80s, in 1989, in the woods outside of what we learn is Gunnison, Colorado.
Yeah. And we got two brothers walking through the woods, and they are going fishing. And we learn their name. The older brother is Maddie, and the younger brother is Jesse. And Jesse is very as a pre-teen-ish is what they imply.
He's 13.
Okay, I missed his exact age, but 13.
He's either 12 or he's 13. He says it later in the episode.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He said 12. You're right. He said he was 12.
Yeah.
So at this point, we weren't exactly sure, but he's very self-aware and is very open that he kissed his crush, who is a boy, and his big brother Maddie is like, be careful, this is a small town, but don't worry, we're going to save up money and we're going to run away to California because I'm going to sell my coin collection.
We are going to get out of here, like so many people in small towns do. Like once we turn 18, we're going to get out of here. And Jesse is like also kind of fascinated with his brother's coin and wants to look at it. And so we all get a pretty good visual of what this coin looks like. And then Jesse goes off to pee.
Yeah, because, out in the woods. And he hears a noise and he calls out for his brother Maddie, but all he hears in response is Maddie yelling and sees him being dragged into the woods by something. And he is trying to chase after it, but can't get to him.
Yep, and we hear some heavy breathing, and he can see something we can't, and then it just goes to the title screen.
Yeah, super creepy. I didn't like it.
Yep, and bunker. We go to the bunker where once again baby has been parked outside. You have an entire garage to put her inside, you assholes.
That's so weird.
Anyhow, so we have established by that shot that we are at the bunker and baby is there.
Yep, and Dean is sitting there researching, and Sam's like calling out that he's just been sitting on his ass researching for a very long time at this point. I think they said sitting is the new smoking was their comment. I don't know. It was a weird.
Yeah. And this was the time when standing desks were starting to become a thing. And we were all like getting concerned about sitting too long at our corporate desk jobs. Aha! You leave those. You don't have to worry about that. And then you still end up sitting at your desk all day. Anyhow. So Dean, though, is really concerned that Amara has Cass and is kind of the way he is looking at Cass, and I don't know how I feel about it, because he's saying that because Cass is not one of the big players, he's just a run-of-the-mill angel, Amara won't give a shit if she hurts him while Lucifer is inside him. And, he's just going to get killed.
He's going to be disposable. More disposable. Yeah. That's
right. And it's just the idea, like, is Cass disposable? I mean, he's been God. Yeah. I mean, isn't he one of the big players now? I mean, I would consider Cass, like, I don't know, in the universe of things, I would put him up there. But
I mean, heaven would consider him something like kind of a big deal, right? I mean, at
right?
this point,
so
they talk about that.
Anyways, I had some issues with him saying that he was so insignificant, and I guess maybe in the Amara scheme of things, but I don't know. Anyhow, so that just kind of bugged me.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that is kind of odd. But Sam's like, don't worry, it's been a tough week, but because of karma, we'll get cast back. Basically what he says. It's just kind of a odd, like, okay, Mr. Positive now, I guess. I don't know. But Sam's like, also, we've got a case. Let's go look for Libby, who went missing near Gunnison, Colorado. She got carried off by a mutant creature with green eyes. Sounds like a them thing. So,
yeah. But they think that it's a demon. And I'm like, how many green-eyed demons have you seen?
I know. That's new. That'd be new. So, yeah. So they're going to go check it out. And they arrive in town and go to the municipal building where we meet Sheriff Tyson, who has very pretty eyes. And she explains there are now 6 people that have gone missing in the town in the last 48 hours. I think that would be quite alarming. She seems concerned, but I wouldn't use the word alarmed.
The whole town just seems okay with the fact that an alarming number of people, and we'll get to how big this town is in a minute, but that's a chunk of your population.
And they're like, technically Libby wasn't from their population because she's from Tucson. They're on vacation. The rest are all locals, though. That's 5. And the only lead they have is Libby's friend. And they were on the last leg of their cannabis tasting tour.
I was like, so I mean, those are a thing. Like, where would one find said thing? Just asking for a friend.
Well, and so they're implying that she's not a very reliable witness. And Sam's like, has anything like this ever happened before here? And the sheriff's like, well, 27 years ago, we had 12 people go missing. And 27 years before that, 8 went missing. And it was always the same time of year. That seems suspicious.
Why? Why is this, like, why are you not more concerned about this?
I know. But it's a transient town, and it's like there's some old timers, of course, and there's theories, but really, a lot of times people just like leave small towns. That's the hot take.
Yeah. And then she also says that this town has only been there since the 50s, and it was virgin forest before then. And so we're going to vehemently disagree with that because you put it in a place that actually exists. So we're going to do a new segment of a show that I'm calling Where in the World Are Sam and Dean Winchester? Tell me where in the world is Sam and Dean Winchester? And we're going to talk, just give you briefly some facts about Gunnison, Colorado. So she was slightly off about how long it's been there. As I said, it's real. It's in western Colorado. The name Gunnison that comes from the Gunnison Valley, from the explorer Captain John W. Gunnison, who had been tasked with finding a way across the Rockies for the railroad. He found the valley in 1853. So maybe she meant the 1850s. And he is said to have stayed there probably a whole 3 days. Also, before that, it was a summer hunting ground for bands of the Ute people who are believed to have inhabited the area since the 16th century. So among things that happened in the American West in the 1800s were the gold and silver rushes, and gold was found in Gunnison in 1861. However, the Utes were standing in the way of mines being built until the Treaty of 1868 created their reservation in what was now western part of Gunnison County. Then they found a large stash of silver ore in the Elk Mountains in 1872. So where people start coming for that, and more discoveries of gold and silver spurred additional mining. Then there was a major conflict between the Utes and their Indian agent, and then U.S. troops in 1879, ultimately resulting in the forced removal of the Utes from the area to Utah. And when that happened, the town really opened up to settlers, right? And the town of Gunnison officially is founded in the spring of 1880. So that's their official legal time they're found. Then the railroad also comes to town, which then brings more of a population there, right? The mining was pretty popular, including coal mining. The last one there in Crested Butte closed in 1952. In addition to the mining, though, this also became a cattle town because nothing good would grow there, and ranching eventually became one of the top area industry. So this is a small town, though. There's a population of 6,560 as of the 2020 census. So I would say if 12 people out of 6,560 people went missing, everybody in town would know.
Yes.
And probably be concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. As an extra little bonus for this segment, I will say a couple of the haunted places in town that Sam and Dean could check out while they're there. So they could be, if they wanted to, they could stay at the Columbine Victorian Hotel, which is a hotel that was built in the 20th century and served as quarters for railroad executives. Apparently, in room number 9, someone took their life, and guests have reported knockings on that door only to find the hallway empty. People have also seen the apparition of a woman in room 14. It is thought she was a murdered sex worker from the hotel's time as a brothel. Why? Because that makes a haunted house more interesting. Also, there is supposed to be a haunting at Western State College at their Robidoux Hall, where a man apparently died of smoke inhalation during a fire. Students have seen his apparition at the side of their bed at night and have found the doors locked from the outside, trapping them in the way the ghost was trapped during the fire. So
Absolutely
those are
not.
I think Sam and Dean may need to go check that out while they're in town. But that is Gunnison, Colorado.
Okay. Well, yeehaw. Well, from there, our sheriff is unconcerned about the history because it just is not on. She just needs to focus on the current missing. And Sam and Dean, you can go look at and talk to however the fuck you want. That's basically what she says. And so Sam's like, okay, I'm going to go do research on the past disappearances. And Dean is going to go talk to, quote, Ganja Girl. But yeah. So we find out her name is Corey, and she insists that she was not hallucinating. She said the thing that took Libby was pale and naked with eyes that flashed green with no hair. It was shaped like a man or a woman, maybe, but either way, it was junkless. Yep. And so she made a sound that was kind of like a shivering sound. And when she found Libby standing there, she was shaking. And when she looked at Corey, her eyes flashed green and her body was like buzzing. That was a sound.
Yeah. And she also like hissed at her, right? It was just like,
hissed at her.
Yeah.
So Dean leaves and calls, is talking to Sam about junkless creatures. And Sam is very unimpressed with this being what they're talking about. But he's also coming up empty. He found the previous Sheriff Cochran's notes, but apparently he was like really doing well, like trying to like
You're not skipping the part about Sam smoking weed. I cannot believe you just skipped over that.
I did.
Okay, so no, we're going to back up. Yeah, because Diana doesn't think this is funny, and I think it's fucking hilarious. So Dean gives Sam shit about this because Dean is like, I don't think weed alone will make Corey see what she did. And he's right, mother, like reefer madness, like you do not hallucinate green-eyed monsters unless, if you are finding weed that does that, please tell me where you're finding that. But he gives Sam shit for smoking weed, and we found out. So, and I'm just saying this because it'll probably come up on a quiz one day, Diana. I'm pretty sure it will. That Sam was in college and he smoked weed, and it was probably oregano. Do know Dean. So based on this, it seems weird. I feel like Dean would have smoked weed at some point.
Yeah, I would have until this, and that made me think about that, and it totally makes sense that Dean wouldn't because he just drinks beer and does.
Yeah, I mean, you can get like
because he's a little like military copy vibes, but not. But you know what I mean?
Yes. See, like he's a bad boy though, right? And like bad boys can kind of go either way, but I do think he kind of goes into the I don't do that shit, that type of macho-ness, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and. We just, it was like, we all know Jared Padalecki smoked weed. And also Sam Winchester. And I'm just, anyhow. So, All right.
So, yeah. All right.
So okay. The weed jokes all aside. So Sam, you're right. He didn't find anything, but he did find out there was the sheriff that was around in 1989.
Yeah, and he would seem to have made like some progress, but then his notes just stopped. And then a few months later, the sheriff resigned and then left town. So, and but he's like, but also most of the witnesses from 1989 or 1962 are all gone or dead, except for one from 1989 named Etta. So they're going to go see Etta, and because her second husband was one of the ones that disappeared in 1989, and she is pissed because apparently he was seen cheating, and Dean's like, wait, like witnessed in the act.
And she's like, yes, he was seen banging 2 different women in public, and that is quite something.
So she's convinced that those, and both of them are also went missing. So she's just sure that he ran off with one of them. And they're like, well, you reported him missing. And she's like, yeah, that was before I knew about the women. He had been gone for 3 days. I didn't know if he was dead in a ditch. And then then I reported him missing. And then I find out about all these other women. So Sam then observes that the room smells like sage, and in her home.
White sage.
White sage. Yes, correct.
Yeah, so it smells like a West End. And
and Dean's like, yeah, and you've got suitcases packed. What's going on? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go stay with my sister for a few weeks. And the sage is because that helps like keep things away that are bad, because you're going to think I'm crazy. But when Pete went missing and I found out about these women, my grandma said that they got the chitters.
So, but these chitters is once around the spring equinox, people in the town go nuts. They have orgies, they do it in the woods, and then they disappear.
Yeah, and never heard from again. And she's like, I didn't believe in this because my grandmother told me this story, and then all of a sudden people started disappearing again now. So I'm burning this sage, and I'm not gonna hang around. And Sam's like, why do they call it chitters? And she's like, well, it's the sound that comes from the woods during these orgies. It's this buzzing kind of rattling sound. And Dean's like, something about green eyes? And she's like, oh yeah, if you get the chitters, you get so revved up with lust that your eyes shine like emeralds.
And then she gets the chitters for Sam.
Kind of.
And it was a very impressive feat of acting on her part to pretend like she was interested in him. All right, so yes, she should have got an Emmy for that one. So hard. All right, so then we go outside, and an amazing dog walks by, and the boys decide that they're going to go get beer and hit the books.
Yeah. So we cut to 2 teens taking a shortcut through they call it an alley, but it's basically a drainage ditch. And as they're walking through this, they see 2 of these creatures banging on an old car seat. It's just really weird. It's weird.
It's really gross. It's weird and gross.
And it's weird. And
I don't know if you've ever run off, like, anytime I've run into people doing it in public, it is so awkward and just it's gross.
Usually if people are doing it in that open of public, they are typically not well. This is not let's be sexy in public. This is like we are under the influence and have nothing and maybe mentally unwell, and this is what we are doing right now. That's what happens. So yeah, it was gross. And then they get attacked, and our dude gets tackled and his neck bitten. Chick is able to run off, and there was another one there too. So they got like surrounded by creatures.
So, but she flees and
gets to go tell what the story.
Yeah, and so we go from there to the sheriff's, and the sheriff's station just looks like a hardware store. But inside, this girl is explaining to the boys and the sheriff that the green-eyed monster was Coach Hollister, and his teeth were pointed, and Coach Hollister didn't have pointed teeth before, but now he does, and he's ripped into Cliff. And the taller of the couple, was the taller of the Deaver brothers and Mrs. Lemowski.
Right. And so it was just, she saw other movement, so there was more of them there than who they saw. And Dean asked her if it was an orgy, and this teenage girl is like, I've never seen an orgy. And the sheriff ends the interview at this point, so, which is good. It's like, oh my gosh. But she's
also very
Oh,
upset.
yeah. Yeah, the sheriff's very upset. She's like, I've got a dead kid with a chunk out of his neck. I have people to call because I also know what was it, the firefighter and the librarian?
Rob the fireman is screwing the librarian, and she's friends with his pregnant wife. And then she was just like, how do I explain what we saw? Was it aliens? Was it Spanish fly? Like, what the hell do I say?
Yeah. And Dean's like, I don't know, this is new for us. So she just leaves. And so, well, Dean's like to Sam's like, well, we confirmed orgy-ish behavior. And then his phone rings, and it's Corey saying that she saw her friend Libby in the woods, but was scared to go after her.
What you doing in the woods? At this point, stop going in the woods. Like, I love the woods, but stop. This is
when you've heard 6 people have
gone
gone missing in the woods, you're not going to go hunt in the woods.
After you see your friend stand there and basically do the hippie shake, like on her own, like no, and then she hisses at you. It's time to not go in the woods. It's time to be in your safe house, maybe with a gun.
Yeah, that's reasonable. So Dean's going to go check on Corey while Sam goes and looks in the alley where the teens were. In the woods, he's like, now Dean's suddenly in street clothes. So somewhere along the way, he also, before he went to meet Corey and help her out, he changed clothes too, which I think was a weird choice. But whatever.
I'm picturing he was just like, I got to get out of this monkey suit. And then like in the car, he like pulled his clothes out of his duffel bag.
I guess. It just still seems like a moment. But he hears a chittering right away. And he sees Libby standing. He figures out it's her, but she's standing there and shaking, and he's trying to talk to her, but when she looks up, she's got the green eyes, and then someone side tackles him and he gets attacked, and then suddenly the person that's attacking him is beheaded. What? Who could have done such a thing? And a man helps him up, and it's 2 dudes, and we find out that it is one of them, his name is Jesse, and who's stabbing this body, whose beheaded body, repeatedly.
Stabbing the shit out of his beheaded body many, many times.
Yeah. And Dean's like, who are you guys? And Jesse's like, you wouldn't believe us.
So we're going to have a hunters meetup. Hooray. And we go to Rustin's bar.
And where they're going to drink Ellie's brew. We've got, we find out they are 2 hunters that have been working together for 7 years, and they've heard of the Winchesters. But didn't think that they were.
They heard they died. They heard they bit it, which I think is great. I love the idea of hunters talking about the Winchesters. I always think that, like they're all just talking mad shit about them too.
Obviously, mad shit all the time. Mad shit. They're jealous, but they're also talking mad shit.
Yeah.
So Sam arrives and gets introduced.
Apocalypse. Yeah. And so we learned what the other guy's name is Cesar.
Yeah. So this is Jesse and Cesar, and they mostly work in New Mexico and sometimes in Texas.
Mexico.
Oh, Mexico. Excuse me. Mexico and Texas. But they seem to know what they're hunting here in Colorado, and Jesse is going to fill them in on the bisan.
Yeah, and Jesse explains they're hunting a bisan, which is a cicada spirit. Ugh. They are rare in America. They think they originated in the forests of Malaysia. They come up from the ground every 27 years, mate like crazy, then the cycle repeats. And Jesse brings up a tablet, and he shows them a picture, and says that they have to inhabit a human body to do the deed because they're junkless, so they enter through the mouth, and then they go inside like they're a hermit crab that doesn't care that the shell is empty. empty, right? And so the buzzing is a mating call. And when Dean asks how to kill it, they're like, well, decapitation seems to work, right? So we're going to talk about some mini lore here. So the bisaan, they took some liberty with it, although I could not find a ton of information on this. And like I said to Diana before the show, I think most of this came from some 19th century anthropologist footnotes. If you are a Malaysian listener who knows more about this folklore, please send us stuff. I'd like to know more. So, but what I could find, in Malaysian folklore, bisaan is a female nature spirit. The word itself has a variety of meanings, including camphor spirit, woman, bird, cat, marriage, humankind, fowl, mother, widow, child, and musket ball.
That's a lot of potential translations.
It is. So camphor spirit, though, is the most important meaning for our purposes. First, real quick, what is camphor? And that's not something that's very popular today, I don't think. So camphor is an organic compound that's used in traditional Asian medicine. It's used for incense, as an insect repellent, and for embalming. When we're talking about it today, you're like, when you say you're in camphor, you're most likely talking about an East Asian tree, the cinnamon camphora. When we're talking about the bisaan, we're talking about a much rarer Borneo camphor, also known as the Malay camphor or the Sumatran camphor, and that's found in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei. So religion within the indigenous Malaysians, with the Jakun and the indigenous Malay, they follow animistic beliefs, meaning that all things have a spirit or a natural force to it. And the camphor tree is said to have a specific guardian, and that is the bisaan. And she can take the form of a cicada. Her singing sounds like one, and she won't sing when it rains. But otherwise, if you hear her singing, you can follow her song, and then you can find camphor to harvest it. And, you know, that's something, you can get a lot of money for it, right? So it was something that was valuable. It was you are defined, right? So, but she was very protective of her tree, and to harvest it, the people would have to trick her by speaking a language made up of combining a mixture of the Malay and the Jakun language words, either like mixed together and then some words to be spoken backwards, or they'd be changed. Those who stayed behind in the village would also have to speak this in order to like keep the disguise going. You could sometimes take her offerings in the form of food, or you could sacrifice a white cockerel bird. But yeah, so that is information I have in this. Like, it's different than she's generally thought to be benevolent, right? Like she wants to keep her tree safe, your tree safe, but she'll give you her stuff, right? If you bribe her and trick her, you know. But nothing about like mating 27 years or, you know, invading people through a mouth, like none of that stuff. So
got it.
So back in Gunnison, we have found that Jesse is one of those hunters that is on the revenge train.
Yeah, because one of them took his brother 27 years ago, and he's been waiting all that time to take a shot back at them. So he wants Sam and Jean to take a step back on this one.
He got this. He got this.
And he's like, yeah, Cesar's like, yeah, Jesse hates this town and everyone in it. And Jesse's like, they're ignorant and useless. So they haven't been following any leads in town. He hasn't been following any leads in town, which leads to a disagreement where basically Jesse and Cesar disagree with how the trajectory of their hunting is going because of Jesse's distaste for everybody in the city. So Dean's like, haha, y'all fight like brothers, just like us. And Cesar's like, more like an old married couple. And Dean's like, ha ha. He's like, oh, wait, y'all are gay. Okay, cool. So,
and I love, you know, he's just like, so what's it like to settle down with a hunter? And he's just like, it's smelly and dirty.
And you're twice as worried about getting ganked. But yeah. So Sam's like, hey, Jesse, who's this Sheriff Cochran dude? And Jesse's like, that incompetent guy. He lives like a hermit a couple towns over. but I don't want to get distracted. We need to be back in the woods. And that's what he's very serious about. We've got to find the burrow. And they're like, well, that's fine, but how about Dean and Cesar go look for the burrow while Sam and Jesse go talk to the sheriff?
So they split up, and I think it's probably a good idea. So Dean goes to where they got jumped, and in the car, they're driving and they're talking about things, and he's just like, look, if they don't find this, Jesse's gonna wait another 27 years and it's gonna destroy him.
Yeah. And so and Dean's like, no, they talk about how like it's hard to watch someone go through this, and that, anyways, it basically they have to let someone that faces these things face it. That's basically what it comes down to. So they go,
even though they know it never fixes them.
No, they just got to let them go through the process no matter what. So they go back out in the woods with their flashlights looking around for this burrow. And Jesse and Sam are driving and they're talking too. And Jesse's talking about how he searched so much for Maddie, and he even found him with his green eyes, and it wasn't human anymore. So he had to leave and didn't look back. But everyone thought that some pervert took his brother, and they did not believe what Jesse said he saw. They said he was lying, including his mom didn't believe him and didn't believe he did enough to save him. And that's just fucked up. And his mom just left town as soon as she could.
Sucks. Like, you should just know that
terrible
your mom
and sad.
Sucks.
Terrible and sad.
Even if, like, I don't know, like, I know it was the 80s, right? But even if somebody says, like, if somebody's like, aliens took my brother, right? Then, and he's a kid, you're still like, okay, I wouldn't be like, why are you lying about this?
Right?
It was a pervert? Like, no,
right,
it was an alien.
But yeah. But also, like, I feel like there's an implication that his mom sucked throughout this a little bit. Because, like, you go back, like, the kids were going to run away as soon as the older brother turned 18. Like, there was layers of, like, hints when you look back. Like, anyways, not that that's an excuse. It's just still
not that it's an excuse, but it just piles onto things, right? And you're just like, no wonder you had to get out of there, Jesse. And so, like, you were rooting for him even all the more now.
So back in the woods, we get a super duper jump scare when something crawls out of the ground and then attacks Cesar, excuse me. But Dean's there and is able to chase the monster off, basically. And goes after him. And then while that's happening, Sam and Jesse have sat down with the sheriff, and he does not care about the FBI. This happened almost 30 years ago, and a lot of folks lost families, so he didn't really have anything new to add. And Sam's like, yeah, but there's more missing with the same MO. And Sheriff's like, no.
I thought it was done, right? And so we're going to kind of figure out, like, what the sheriff was thinking in a minute, but we're going to have to go back to the woods where Dean has returned, and he has found they think they found the burrow, and that's why they were attacked. And so the females are off, they're laying their eggs. The eggs are getting born-ish, sort of.
But of course, there's no cell service because there never is. So the sheriff is going to talk a little more with Sam and Jesse. And he's talking about how he was, he goes and washes his face, and he goes and sits down, and he's like, I'll just take your card and I'll call you if I think of anything. And Sam's like, you don't have a phone, so you're not. So let's talk. And he's like, look, I couldn't find them, but I bought this place and moved out here to find peace. And so finally, after back and forth, he's going to talk more. They know what took the people, and they know it isn't human. So they need to know what the sheriff knows. So he sits down and he tracked one, and it was sick and dying. And that's when he got to where it was. He also saw his daughter, and he thought she had left for school a few days before, but now she was one of them. And it's kind of a sad story. But it's a horribly tragic story. But it's also weird. He never reported her missing. So does that mean because she was already gone and his comment is that he knew where she was. She wasn't missing. Damn.
Yeah, and apparently nobody else gave a shit about her, about this girl. Like, nobody, noticed that she just stopped showing up for things.
I guess. And so he said he tried to talk to her, and then she attacked him, so he killed her. And Jesse is pissed because now he attacks the sheriff because the sheriff knew all along, and the sheriff was one of the people playing into the fact that Jesse made this all up. That's really sad. Poor kid.
Yeah, and he could have really thinks that he could have ended everybody's suffering because he knew what happened, but nobody would have believed him either, right?
That's true. Correct.
Correct. So it's a big, ugly, and messy, and Cochran tries to defend himself that all these people were already dying, right? And it's just gross. It's all just not a happy. Obviously, it's a terrible situation. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sam even asks, he's like, what, so did you just erase her from your life and pretend that she ran off? And the sheriff basically says yes when he looks at the photo of her. He's sad. And then he's like, but this is where I found her. It's at the an old mine, specific mine. He said that's where they were at. So now Sam and Jesse have a destination.
Well, and they were already going there. Sam and Jesse, yeah, they do have their destination. Sorry, I was thinking, my mind was already at Dean and Cesar. Okay, so Dean and Cesar are at the mine, and they are breaking their way into that. And you guys, you should really try and find some better ways to keep old mines out of,
just
you shouldn't just be able to be
pulled off by hand.
I'm going to pull this board off and get into this old abandoned mine here. Teenagers would never do anything with that.
Never. And they kind of split up, and Dean finds first the body of a woman on the ground.
Oh no, it's Gatschet girl.
Yeah, and she appears to be pregnant with a distended, bloated belly.
Her belly is glowing with life. She's filled with the glow of pregnancy.
Don't say that. That's upsetting. It's green. It's a green.
That's not what they mean when they talk about women being.
I don't think
glowing.
Glowing. No? I don't think that's what they mean at all.
Oh, okay.
When they say glowing, and then of course there's one of the dude behind him, and Cesar is getting attacked, but Cesar is able to behead them. Dean's fighting and has to behead this one with a fucking shovel, and then Cesar is there, and they're like, "Oh shit!" They realize there's a whole room full of the females' bodies with distended bellies, and it's they call it a maternity ward.
Yeah, but they're all dead. So it's very weird that
the women are
the
dead,
bodies
but the babies
are able
alive.
to live but the bodies are, I don't know. It's a very strange parasitic thing that's happening. I'm sure there's
the males
another scientific name
eggs.
For things that lay their eggs inside of corpses.
Probably. I don't know.
Probably.
But the males are protecting the eggs, though, is what's happening, even though the women are dead.
And so basically what Cesar is positing is that these bodies basically stay down there.
Yeah.
Until the eggs hatch for 27 years. They're just in there.
Yeah. That's weird. And Dean's like, well, I got gasoline in baby. Let's go pull that around.
Kill it with fire. Kill it with fire.
Doesn't he say he's 5 gallons? That seems like a lot of gas to just be driving around with.
Yeah, I mean, unless he's just talking about siphoning out of, he's just going to siphon it out of baby. But beyond that, I also think though, I would want to do something else. I wouldn't want to just do fire. I don't think fire guarantees they're dead. They get pop out. This all seems like a horrible situation for things to go wrong or things to explode and go mucusy. Do you want those eggs to pop from heat?
No,
and get alien
upsetting.
goo everywhere. Yeah, I think you should do some stabbing first.
Individual stabbings, and then.
I mean, I know it'd be pretty hard because you'd have to go through the ladies' stomachs, but
that's a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I just wouldn't trust that fire would do the trick.
Fire alone, correct. I would do a double. I think fire would be the second step 2.
Double tap this shit.
Not step 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dumb. So they go to baby, and Sam and Jesse arrive, and Jesse is like worried because Jesse's worried because when Cesar got tackled earlier, he hurt his foot or something, so he's limping a little bit. But Cesar is like, no, I'm fine, and this is finally going to be over. And so Dean gives Jesse the gas to go burn the motherfucking place down. And before he starts the fire, he walks into the burrow and he finds his brother's body very quickly. And you can see his little pouch with the coin, and he's able to get that. And they all agree to give Maddie a proper burial.
But
so
the other families don't get any closure, and like, what the hell happens to like this messed up? I'm sorry.
Well, they kind of say like
you have remains that could go to families.
They do. And they kind of like Sam and Dean are kind of like, oh, we'll take care of the others or something. But it's like, but really, will you? No, you never do. So of course not.
It's just, you don't have an aftercare plan for Gunnison, Colorado. You're going to burn this shit down, leave all these people, and never tell them what happened to their family.
And then they'll just not
we
notice.
We don't see the sheriff
years.
Again. Where is the new sheriff? Like, I know she wasn't that concerned, but maybe she should know where those people, like, they didn't let her know that.
That seems like relevant information.
Okay, so I just like the sheriff just completely gets like shoved to the side in this story. Like, she was there and then just like, bye.
Yeah, forget her. Let her go worry about the
I
don't know, the phone calls.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we go outside. Yeah. And they're going to give Maddie a hunter's funeral.
Yeah. It's like the next day. It's done, apparently. And Maddie gets his hunter's funeral. You're right. And then while they're doing that, Sam is talking to Dean about how when Dad and Dean would leave him alone and go off on a hunt, he would be so sure that something, whether it was a vampire or a rougarou, would finally get them. And then he would try to think about what he would do next. And because
he didn't know. Because John didn't leave him any instructions. The fuck, John Winchester, worst dad of the fucking world. Like, you didn't tell your child what to do.
If we're not back by this time, call this person. Like, there's
call
very simple
Bobby.
things.
And Dean's like, we always showed up. I'm like, this is still not responsible.
It's not. Contingency plans are not a cop out or a give up. Contingency plans are useful. That's what you do. You make those.
You're terrible.
Anyways, and Dean's excuse is like, well, look at Jesse. He turned out all right. I don't know. It's stupid. Yeah. And but he's like, but they discuss that, hey, I was thinking maybe Jesse and Cesar can help us out with the Amara and Castiel thing. They're fresh eyes, they've more muscle, it'd be nice. I think they just kind of they like these guys, so they want to work with them. And that's pretty cool. And I'm like, I get excited because I'm like, I like these guys too. Let's do this. Yep. But no. No. They're walking away from the woods, and Cesar is very happy because now they agreed that now that this hunt has finished, they are going to hang up their spurs and go hang out on their land in New Mexico.
Mexico.
I thought they said New Mexico that time.
No. They said Mexico.
Mexico, where they've got horses. They're going to go raise horses in Mexico. I don't know why I kept hearing New Mexico.
I don't know. Maybe you got that on your mind too. They also apparently almost blew up the mine when they were trying to burn down the eggs, and so but then the mine probably collapsed and those eggs are in there. I'm telling you, they're not dead. Like, I'm sorry, you didn't double tap the eggs, and you can't just burn them anyhow.
And we won't know for 27 more years.
We won't know for 27 more years.
Mm-hmm. So Sam and Dean get in the car, and they agree that he didn't feel right to ask them to not basically retire from hunting. So that's why he didn't ask.
Yeah, 2 hunters who make it to the finish line. You leave that alone.
Yeah, that's our episode.
Aww. And so
that's our episode.
Yeah. Oh, bye, Cesar.
I know.
Bye,
sad.
Jesse.
I like them.
Yeah, man. And spoiler, we don't see them again.
We
as far
do
as I remember. So, let's talk about who they were and who some of these other people were.
Casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy? La 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 la.
Yeah, so our cast in this episode
Who they
is pretty
are?
big.
I guess
I guess they are. They're still around. So Jesse was played by Lee Rumor, and he hasn't been in anything in the last 6 years. So I don't know if that's just as an aside. So it's not a lot of recent work, but he's been in episodes of Smallville, Queer as Folk, a few times, Nikita, Umbrella Academy, but they mentioned that may be uncredited. And then he was Santa in the Lana Del Rey holiday album video. That was fun. Cesar was played by Hugo Ateo, and his career started out in Mexican television, and then he's been in episodes of Falling Skies and Arrow. He was Sarge in the series Siren as a reoccurring character. And he is in Jesus in the new Netflix rom-com The Wrong Paris. Sheriff Tyson was played by Candace McClure. She's been in episodes of Smallville, a few episodes of Reaper, Alphas, Good Doctor, Flash, Snowpiercer. She was a clerk in Romeo Must Die. She was Sue in the 2002 version of Carrie. She's Vicky in the 2009 version of Children of the Corn. She's Dr. Landu in the Ghost Wars series. Sorry. And she's the Guardian in Charmed. It's a reoccurring character. And Kaya in Virgin River, another reoccurring character. Sheriff Joe Cochran was played by Andy Maton. He was he's been in a few things, but specifically he was a high roller in the movie Rat Race. Corey Kim was played by Jaylee Hamidi, and she's been in episodes of Supergirl, Allegiance, and Yellow Jackets. She's Alice in How to Die Alone series as a reoccurring character. Libby was played by Lauren Overholt. She's a dancer in Welcome to Marwen and has been in episodes of Bates Motel and Altered Carbon. Young Jesse was played by Valen Shinye, episodes of Smallville, Riverdale, which we'll get to more in a minute, Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies, and was Randy in A Christmas Story 2, and has done a lot of voice work in like young children's like toddler shows, like shows I would not know. But Maddie was played by Connor Stanhope. He's been in episodes of Smallville, Fringe. He was Danny. He is Danny in My Life with the Walter Boys, which is it's a Netflix series, reoccurring character on that. And Logan in the Garage Sale Mystery series, which is a TV movie series. It's a reoccurring character in that. Etta was played by April Telek. She's been in episodes of, she actually has done a bunch of casting associate work and other crew work and a lot of Hallmark movies, but episodes of Dead Like Me, Aliens in America, Frequency, Fire Country, and Tracker. She was Chloe in Y2K movie, Mrs. Wilson in the movie Freeway 2, as secretary in the movie White Noise, Liz in the movie Flight 93, and Nell in the series Hell on Wheels. It's a recurring character. And then Aunt Brenda in Final Destination Bloodlines movie. Cliff, our teenager who gets his neck ripped out, was played by Drew Ray Tanner, who's been in episodes of Arrow, iZombie, Supergirl, in The Order, but most importantly is the one and only Fangs, also roles of Flynn and Fenn, in Riverdale. Woo! Yay, Fangs.
Things that make Diana happy.
Yeah. His girlfriend, who did not have a name, was played by Julia Tortolano. She's been in episodes of Dead Like Me, 4400, Almost Human, Once Upon a Time, and Supergirl. And then two bisans that get all the bisan credit in this episode. One was Lisa Chandler, who's a stunt woman who's done a lot of stuff with Supernatural, but also Altered Carbon, and then she did stunt work in the recent film Longlegs. And then our other one was played by Robert Zen Humpage, who's done a lot of stunt work in a lot of things, including the series The Shogun, Snake Eyes, and Deadpool movies. I told you it was a lot of cast.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, yeah, there was a lot of people, but it didn't feel like it though.
It didn't. That's what was funny. When I started going through, I was like, holy shit. So yeah. What do you think about this episode, Liz?
I was laughing last week when you were talking about, I'm glad we're finally getting some Amara action. So I know that we're going to be not having another Monster of the Week. And I was just laughing. I was like, nah, I'm totally Monster of the Week.
Right. But, it tricked me.
But yeah, like you, I love Cesar and Jesse. I think I would have, here's your next spinoff, now that you don't have Countdown.
There you go.
Let's do their backstory. Let's see what happens after they go to Mexico.
They can raise horses and just accidentally fall into hunting occasionally. See,
well,
it's a story
a hunter's life is never over, and a chupacabra is going to attack their goats, or it could be their kids. I don't know, whatever. Let's find out what happened to Cesar and Jesse. Continue that story. So yeah, I agree. It was. I like it, I like it when we get other hunters, right? It mixes up the scene. So, so I'm glad we got not just a Monster of the Week, that we got to meet a cool couple. But I also wish they were around more.
Yeah, that would have been cool. It would have been a nice touch. But I agree fully. I thought I'm real creeped out by this monster for
the Chitter. Yeah,
it ekes me out so bad.
Oh, and it also reminds me of the Maynard scenes in True Blood with the town folk orgies. So and that also had the shaking in it too. And remember I said the director is a Blair Witch dude.
Yeah.
So again,
so I could see that visual. Yeah, with her head down, shaking, that scene. That's very, very reminiscent.
Yeah. So it was very well done. It was very well shot. It was very creepy.
Agreed.
And but it was balanced out by having likable people, right? But yeah, the whole idea of this creature, the way that they took it was really gross. Yes. So good on them for making it gross.
Oh.
Any other thoughts?
No. That's all I got.
Oh no, I had one more thought. Yeah, so just orgies in general. I will say, when I was trying to pad out, this episode, I was trying to see if there were towns who have had massive orgies. Don't look up towns and orgies, because all you're going to do is find advertisement for the orgies that apparently happen in your town. And at least I was on a VPN, so I didn't think it was in my town. But apparently that's what the internet thinks. Fun. So cheers. I'm glad you guys don't have to know about that. So I did that search for you, and I'm on a new special list just for you guys. So all right. On that note, I guess we'll end it. Cheers, Dirk.
Cheers, bitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Be a Dick production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios podcast network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.